right, the little voice to my left, is our senior minister, Reverend Tim Peterson. He will be speaking on Be Ye, Therefore Perfect. Please welcome Reverend Tim Peterson.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a bit of news this morning. Before I start my talk, one of our bright stars is moving to Calgary.
Boo.
Reverend Val Benedict is moving to be closer to her family, and we're going to miss her.
Yes.
I said a few years ago her motto was, "Screw it, let's do it." And she has not let us down in that. She has been like a metaphysical Easter bunny, Energizer bunny, never stopping. She'll be speaking the last Sunday in September, so please come out and help us celebrate her. Because Reverend Val, we love you. When I was going to college in the United States, it was right at the beginning of the end of the Vietnam War. There were protests going around all over the country right then, but there wasn't any protests going in the school that I was at. The college I was at was a Mormon college, an LDS. And there was a lot of young men who didn't know whether they were going to get called or not to serve in the Army. And that caused a lot of anxiety because I saw people monthly checking the board to see if they had been called up. In that town, there was a lot of Mormon missionaries, too. Saturday was the one day that these missionaries could take off, and they could do their laundry, they could do whatever they wanted to do. It was their day. Because the other days, they were busy, and they were moving and talking to people. And the majority of these young men were in the age of about 19 to 21. Over the course of their daily lives, either worried about being called to kill people, or there were missionaries about to be called, who also met daily with an untold number of rejections, and sometimes much worse. Both my brothers were missionaries, and they both told me stories about how they had been abused, hit, and it was a scary time for some of those to go up to men, to people, to tell them about this teaching. There seemed to be in these young men an energy that wanted desperately to express. A friend of mine and I were throwing football in the field, and a few of the missionaries came running over and said, can they play? Can we do something? So we started a football game. And we started out as flag football. And flag football is where you have your flag in the back of your pants or in your pocket, and if you get the ball and you can run, if somebody grabs your flag, that's where you stop, and that's where the down ends. And pretty soon the flag football got to be touch football. It was a little bit rough touch football. And the more we played, the more missionaries came in, and the more of these other people came in, there was that energy that just had to come out, and they were mean. Eventually, the football game became tackle. And it was probably the roughest tackle game I've ever seen in my life. There was one player, he was a missionary, who seemed to take a dislike in me personally. And he would do some questionable hits. It appeared that he wanted to hurt me. Now, I'd love to say that I took the high ground and didn't react, but no, I reacted. One of the times that he was rushing me, he somehow ended up breaking his nose. And I was exceedingly glad. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 43, he said, "You have heard that it has been said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy." The guy that was on me during that game somehow suddenly became an enemy. And I had no idea what his story was or what the anxiousness that he was going through or anything. It was like him against me. And in those games, in that game of tackle football, I kind of hated him. Now I can look back on time, and not always with fondness, but always with the realization there was something to learn from that. There's a truth to be pulled. And what I was being done was being pulled into a hatred abyss. This was 50 years ago. And it was like, I dreamt about it last night. And it was like it was so clear to me. 50 years had gone by, and I still have that vividly in my mind. So as I was in this dream, and as I was dreaming about football and getting tackled and tackling people, and I also ended up going into the office that they had there. And it wasn't a real office, but it was an office that I made up in my mind. And I walked in the room, and they said, "Hi, Tim, in here." And they handed me a musician's baton, or a conductor's baton. And they said, "Your class is in the back." So I went to the back, and there was a group of people there that were sitting there, and I was looking at this one chair, because this one guy was sitting in this really comfortable chair. And he said, "Would you like to sit in it?" And I said, "Oh, no. You sit. You sit. You're good." He said, "I'd love you to sit in it." And I said, "Thank you. Okay." Then I woke up. The baton to me was, I'm the conductor of my life. I get to orchestrate what's ever happening in my life. I can either choose this to be something really angry or really frustrating, or I can choose this to be a talk about love and peace and honoring. We're going through some stuff right now. We've been kind of a government-imposed state of siege. And for the most part, I think people don't care for it. For the last few months, we've been told to do things. And for many people, this has been a tough sell. I think that we believe, or want to believe, that we are all rebels. And no one's going to tell us what to do. And I've brought that in, and I've been there when I was 20, 30, a little bit into the 40s. And every time that I found myself rebelling against something, I found myself in almost a self-styled or self-imposed state of siege. Something going on with me had me looking for what was wrong instead of what could possibly be going right and how I could honor and add to society. I mean, nobody was going to make me wear a seatbelt. Until one person I was riding with said in the nicest way, "We're not moving until you do your seatbelt up." I was so clever, and I said, "Well, I guess we're not moving." And she just said, "I guess not." She turned off the car and just waited for me. I said, "This is stupid." She just looked lovingly at me. I said, "Come on, you're not going to try and let the government tell you what to do, are you?" Still looked just lovingly at me. Just waited. I put the seatbelt on, and she started the car. And she began to drive. And I started to undo the seatbelt. And she never even looked up, and she just said, "I can stop the car again if you want to." The choice was mine. The choice, did I want to go in this trip? Did I want to go with her? Or did I want to just stay there? It's my choice. It always has been. How am I going to live this life? How am I going to live my life today? Because I'll tell you, there's many choices out there. There's many chances out there that we can take. But how am I going to live today? Because yesterday's gone. It doesn't really matter anymore. Today is the powerful one. In Matthew 5:44, he says, "But I tell you, love your enemy and pray for those that persecute you." So am I supposed to love that guy who was trying to hurt me playing football? And then it came to me, this isn't about him. This is all about you. This is how you are reacting. This is that energy that you are bringing. If you want it to be an energy of forgiveness and love, or an energy of fear and anger. 50 years I've been holding that. I can still see him lining up against me. And I'd love to say there's no energy left, except I have every little detail still in my mind. And I can either use it right now to change my life, to change something, to say I don't want this anymore, or I could just keep going with it. And just letting it play over and over and over and over again in my mind. How he did me wrong. He tried to hurt me. I have no idea if he's trying to hurt me. Because I make up a lot of things. I make up a lot of my life. Or I have made up a lot of my life. And I still think I do. I hear the ends of conversations right now and figure out that I know exactly what was going on, and I don't. We never do. We think we know somebody that somebody has we think we know that somebody is thinking a certain way about us, and we really don't. That that's our idea. That's our expression of what's happening in our lives. That's how we're feeling about our lives in this day. Be ye therefore perfect. How could I be perfect? Today's talk is be ye therefore perfect. And as I was doing this, I was thinking about it. And we have an idea of what perfection is. And perfection is, Father knows best. Perfection is the perfect house, the perfect place. It's absolutely clean. It's pure. It's everything that you'd ever want in a place. That's perfection. And yet we look at ourselves and see ourselves as imperfect, unperfect. We look at ourselves and see the flaws that we have going on. And it's not fair. Because we are that which God is. I mean, there's only one. And yet we hold ourselves to a place that we can never get to. We want to get to a higher place of consciousness, and we still look at ourselves in the mirror and say, who, me? Are you kidding? How can I be perfect when I look like this and when I have this happening in my life? Right now I'm on 2 crutches. How can I be perfect? We can be perfect because we are perfect. There's no better Tim Peterson, who's a minister at the Center for Spiritual Living, Edmonton-Metro, than I am. I am it right now. And tomorrow I'm going to change. I'm going to be something else. But I will be perfect in that moment too. Because there's nobody that can be me except me. So I might as well accept that about myself, that I am perfect as I am, and realize that I still want to grow and I still want to move beyond this old idea of what perfection is. I want a new understanding, and I want a new, freedom that comes with that understanding. We appear to be imperfect, but we see only imperfection through our own mind. To say that I'm a perfect expression, to say I am absolutely perfect is pretty grassy of me. But it also means you too are in fact perfect in every way. Most of us won't believe that. We often argue to keep ourselves in limitation. We look at our bodies and you mean this is perfection. And just because I cannot see it in the moment of what perfection is, does not mean it's not there. I have to realize that everything moves in cycles. Sometimes I'm absolutely sure of who I am. and who I've come here to be. Other times, not so much. I still have those ideas of a little bit of anxiety sometimes. Am I really doing what I need to do? Am I really doing it the best way that I can do it? So often, stuff happens when I'm not really understanding how it's happening. When I'm walking, and I'm walking now a lot better, everybody's telling me that I'm walking a lot better than I was, and I guess I am. I'm walking a lot quicker, I guess I am. But in that moment, it doesn't feel like I am, because it's still crutches. And I should be off of that. It's my mindset that this should be way beyond me now. And yet it's not. We go through life as we go through life. And each one of us takes a certain amount of time to get to a place that they want to get to. I went golfing with Robin years ago. And he's a good golfer. And I tried to be as good as he was, and I couldn't be. Because he's played more than I have, and he's just a better golfer than I am. And I had to come up with that idea that I'm playing golf the best way that I can. I'm doing it perfectly. And when I'm hitting that ball, it's doing exactly what I want it to do. If it's slicing or if it's hooking. And it's not what I'm visualizing, but it's how I'm playing the game. How do you want to play the game? Because if we're going to go out there thinking that drive's going to go straight down the middle every single time, it's going to get pretty boring. We have to have some variety in our lives. And that's how we grow and how we expand and how we create something new in our lives. It's building a new consciousness. Creating a new understanding of who we really are. You know, and I'm sure you're all sick and tired of hearing about my hip replacement. Too bad. I was in a world of pain for months, and I didn't realize it. Well, I did, but I didn't realize that it showed in my face. Because now that my one hip is so much better, and I'm seeing people that are saying, oh, have you ever changed? There's no more lines in your face anymore. It's just, you look brighter, you look slimmer, you look, everything is just better about you because the pain's not there anymore. Now, I didn't think that I showed pain. I thought I kept it pretty tough. I wasn't going to show anybody how I was feeling. But it's kind of impossible not to when we're feeling what we're feeling. That pain that I felt gave me a new appreciation for those who are going through their own pain. And it could be this similar type of pain, or it could be other types of pain that I may not see, whether it's physical or mental or spiritual pain. We go through pain, and I think the important part is that we go through it. It's not there to stay forever. Now, once my hip was done, now I've got to get the other one done, and I can hardly wait to do that one. Some people say I'm going to be a bionic man shortly. Well, yeah. Me and Steve Austin. Everything moves in cycles. Pleasure and pain. Day and night. Fashions. The planets, tides, the seasons. Money. Politics. All the world moves in a cycle of normalcy. We also move in cycles. We also live in cycles. Stock markets rise and fall. They're never stationary. And it sounds like emotions that we have sometimes. We could be happy and laughing one day and sad and crying the next. We don't know today what tomorrow's going to bring. I had an unexpected discovery going through the pain that I went through. I was expecting to not have pain, but I wasn't expecting to get the realization of who else is in pain and how their pain affects their lives, like I do having this. Marcus Bach wrote a book called The Three Princes of Serendipity. And serendipity means an unexpected discovery of something worthwhile while on a journey to find something worthwhile that you do expect. I said earlier that I believe in laws, and the most powerful law that I can think of is the law of reciprocal thought. Your thoughts are the most powerful part of you. They actually create your world. What a piece of work we are. We're amazing. Right now we're going through stuff. Right now we're seeing this pandemic as the pandemic. Right now we're going through some anger and resentment and fear and frustration that's happening all through the United States and coming up in Canada. And we get pulled into it so easily until we don't. Until we say, I'm not going to go down that road anymore. I've been down that road. It leads to a certain place, and then it stops, and there's nothing more. It leads to me playing football with this guy that's all going to hurt me. And the anger that I had about him, and I don't know who he was. I don't know who he is today. He could be the nicest person in the world. So I'm not going to go down that road of anger and fear and frustration. But I'll tell you, I'm going to stand up for what I believe. Because I believe in the truth. I believe in the spirit. I believe in love. I believe in harmony. I believe that we are here to create a brand new world. I believe that we are amazing. I believe that we are perfect. Each one of us in our own way. And it's only through our different types of perfection that we get this whole community of differences that make life so unique. Be ye therefore perfect. It's the realization that our thoughts determine our experiences. It's as simple as that. I can see myself as perfect if I want to see myself as perfect. If I don't, I won't. Has anybody been really mad at themselves? 1 and 2. Thank you. 3, 4, 5. How long did it last? Did you ever let it go, or you? Because I'll tell you, a lot of times we just hold on and hold on and hold on and hold on, when it's way past the time it should be past. So this week, I'd like you to do a few things. I'd like you to accept the unexpected. And I'd like to see if you can see a benefit in what's happening in your life. Because the unexpected will happen. My first car was a 66 Ford Fairlane GT. There was only 500 made. I had mine 8 days, and then it was totaled. How was I blessed? I'm still here, first of all. And I don't know if I would be if I would have had that car for much longer. Because it was fast. And I was kind of crazy. Something happened to get in the way of me having this. Now it hurt. But I either had to get over it, I could hold that too. As they did it to me. How about they did it for me? How about universe stepped in to say, I want you around for a little bit longer. We have that option to see that. We have that option to bring that idea into mind. How blessed I am. The 3 princes of Serendip had a few irrefutable convictions. One was there is a law, and it's a karmic law that you will sow what you reap. What you put on tape will play back to you exactly as you have recorded it. Listen to your recordings. What have you been saying to yourself over and over and over and over again. Are they successes that you've had, or are they failures? How are we showing up in the world? How are we creating our lives? How do we live? When you change your thinking, you change your life, you have to. It's what happens. Now, some of us think it's not happening fast enough, and you're right. It's not happening fast enough. You get to be right. We get to be right about everything. Or it could be just at the right perfect time that this is happening. What are you willing to say to yourself this week? Are you willing to go beyond yesterday? Are you willing to take the baton and orchestrate something new for yourself? When the conductor taps everybody stops. The whole orchestra stops waiting for him to give the first downbeat. And then they start to play. We're at that point right now. We're at that point where we're doing this. Because we can have anything right now. We're the conductor of what's going to happen in our lives. And at that downbeat, what do you want? How do you want that music to come to you? Passionately? Fully? Or do you want a squeaky clarinet? I want joyful expressions of life coming to me, always. And sometimes I get them and sometimes I don't. But I'll tell you, if I don't get them, I look for them. Because if I'm looking for them, I'm going to find them. And it may take some time, but I'm going to find them. And I'm going to find them because I want them, because that is who I am. And that is what I'm willing to do, is I'm willing to put back all those other things that no longer serve me to create something that does. We have a chance to live an amazing life. Every one of us. All we have to do is say yes.
Yes.
One yes?
Yes.
Yes.
3, 4, 5, 6. Good. If we say yes to life, life says yes to us. And that's just how it works. We have classes coming up. If you don't understand how to do this, how this works, take a class. Start a class. Get with like-minded people who will support you in a higher vision of life. Understand who you really are. Do what you need to do. Are you doing your affirmations? Are you doing your treatments? And if not, why not? The classes that we have coming up are the Science of Mind. We're talking about treatment. Treat yourself to life. Hollywood's book is an amazing book. All these things are readable. And they touch us at a deep, deep level. Be aware of who you really are this week. Begin to change your life today. Just with one simple thought, one idea. Just change one thing. And if it's even going home the way that you always go home a different way. Change one thing. See if you can see a new sign, or a new restaurant, or a new place to go, or a new something to do. Because if we're still going down the same old place all the time, we never have anything new. And if there's nothing new, then we're living in the old. So in closing, the next time something happens to you, don't think to you, think for you. Don't think good or bad, just think is. Think, what can I learn from this? How can I benefit from this experience? Our job today is to see the unexpected good as it happens in our life. There is one power, and that power is love. That power is my power right now. So with gratitude, I release this and I let it restart.